it's about to go off. Boom, boom, boom. I like to dance when it is a move. I need a spotlight big as the moon. Hands on the clock, go 4, 3, 2. It's about to go off. Boom, boom, boom.
This is the Insta360 X4 360 action camera, and in today's video I'm going to walk you guys through how I would use this to get the most cinematic video of this beautiful car here. This 8K action camera captures the world in an extremely unique way in that it captures everything around it. So I'm really curious to see if we can utilize the strengths of this while actually getting cinematic video of this Huracan. So we have teamed up with Adrenaline Exotics, who are the owners of this vehicle and a ton of other beautiful vehicles. So today I'm actually working with Jeremy from Code 3 Media. I'll link his YouTube right up here and down in the description below. So huge thanks to those guys. And as well, this is not sponsored by Insta360. They did send me this camera to use for this video, which I'm super excited about, but no money has exchanged hands, or they have told me nothing to say about this. So we're just gonna have a lot of fun shooting with this camera. So for the first shot that we're gonna try today is that classic Gran Turismo. We all grew up playing those crazy racing games and having that rear camera view. Well, that's something that the Insta360 can uniquely get without us having to do crazy rigs with our big cameras. This one, we've got a camera car mount rigged up here, the triple suction mount from Insta360, and we've got the Insta360 X4 mounted as far back on the action pole as possible. So let's go for a rip down this crazy beautiful road and see how it looks. Being able to recreate that Gran Turismo-like shot is actually something that was super easy to do and really fun. Now, I know there's some cons in that you can see the suction cups on the car, and in this particular case, the back of the car actually was getting really quite warm, so we weren't able to get a ton of shots because the engine was right under where the suction cups were, but I'm sure you guys can see the ability for you to get so creative with mounting this anywhere on the back of the car. In terms of the settings that I used for this video, we were shooting in 8K and using 30 frames per second. Sometimes I shot at 24 frames per second, and I kept everything else in auto. I made sure the exposure was down to -0.7 to keep as much of the highlights exposed as possible. And from what I'm seeing in the footage, it did a pretty decent job of managing the exposure, and I'm able to use my own car video LUTs to make sure that they look pretty good and cinematic. So if you guys like the way that this footage looks, I'm using my finishing LUTs here. I'll leave a link for you guys down in the description. So as you can see, shooting a Lamborghini Huracan is a heck of a good time. But what's better than shooting one Lamborghini? Driving two. So this is going to be our chase car for our next shot. So we're going to now mount the camera on the back of the Lamborghini Urus, and then we're going to have the Huracan be our chase car. Pretty insane. Is this real life? Wild. One of the things that was most attractive to me with the Insta360 X4 is now that it has 8K and the ability to reframe your shot in post. When it comes to action cameras, this one kind of blows the rest of them out of the water in what you're able to do. For me, the peace of mind that I can just shoot and reframe later is pretty incredible. For me, this was the first time using a 360 camera, so there is a bit of a learning curve, but to be honest, once I got into it, it actually is a lot of fun. I find that this camera actually creates opportunities for creativity. One of my concerns with the Insta360 X4 is that it shoots a very wide field of view. Now, typically with cars, this isn't ideal, as the wider you go, the more it actually distorts what the shape shape of the car is, which you kind of want to avoid. But with the X4, you're able to de-warp the footage and keep a decently straight horizon, and then you can get creative as you want. You can go as wide as you want with the footage, or you can zoom into the footage. Again, having that 8K available to you is a really powerful tool. For the third shot, like I said, I'm not trying to reinvent the wheel here, but rather we're just going to lay the X4 on the ground and let the car drive over it. Now, the Huracan was actually lowered, so that gave us a little bit of nerves setting this thing on the cement, but it was a lot of fun to see the ability to use this one shot and get two different angles. One of the ways I'm super excited to use the X4 is for behind the scenes, because you could just mount this camera on your gimbal or on your chest or on your head or wherever you want to get some really unique behind the scenes angles. So I've now mounted this to my gimbal. I'm gonna go dance around the car and shoot some B-roll, and then you guys can see the behind the scenes of how I shoot that. So I love that for this camera. It's gonna be a really unique viewpoint. Bit right on the face. What are your thoughts on the X4?
So far, this thing is awesome. All the experience I have doing my own recording is just with a GoPro, and in comparison, this thing is crazy. There is so much versatility. You can get so many different shots. You see the hero shots off the back of the car, being able to record both myself and you at the same time. There's just so many things that this camera can do that not many things can.
Now, one of the biggest things that kept me from getting into 360 cameras previously is the editing process. It seemed a bit daunting, but now with Insta360's new app and the ability to edit this thing quite swiftly, it's actually a lot of fun. They even have a lot of ideas in their app that you guys can go use for inspiration, or even you can go and capture those shots with their suggested settings and it'll edit it for you. As a cinematographer, you kind of get locked down into the things that you're used to shooting, so to speak. But now with this new way of filming for me, it kind of just opened up my mind to, what if I try this? What if I do that? Oh, I didn't know you could maybe flip the camera in post-production to use a transition. I'm not really trying to reinvent the wheel with these shots, but rather try to use this camera as an additional tool in my tool belt to create content that I really couldn't create before. Overall, what are my thoughts on the Insta360 X4, and is this something that you should buy? Well, for me, this is absolutely not going to replace any of my cinema cameras, but what this is going to replace is essentially every single one of my action cameras. This is a all-in-one, do-everything action camera. It's super impressive with the 8K and the reframe ability. You can also turn this into a standard action camera and just use one of the lenses if you want. If you're new into capturing cars, then this camera could actually give you a lot of inspiration. This is a fantastic camera for capturing motion, behind the scenes details, and that's absolutely what I'm going to be using it for. I love showing you guys behind the scenes of what I love to do. So if you guys enjoyed this video, you might consider subscribing here, and you might like that video there. And in our next video, we're going to be shooting the brand new Porsche Taycan, so you're going to want to stay tuned for that one. Hope to see you guys in the next video. Peace.